In new member states, the mode share for active travel, as well as public transport, is high. In Hungary, for example, cycling and walking have a total share of 32% of all trips. In Romania, this rises to 35%. This is higher than the current share for the private car, which is at about 31% in Hungary and in Romania. But the status of infrastructure, as well as the current trend of investing in measures to improve walking and cycling, does not reflect these facts. Quite to the contrary. Planning and investments focus on improvements for car users. Walking and cycling are often not viewed as modes of transport, let alone ones that are as important as the car. To help change this situation, a series of active travel audits have been organised and carried out in several cities of the European Union. Within the EU-funded project Active Access, the main focus of these audits was to raise awareness of the status of walking and cycling among decision makers, planners, stakeholders and multipliers. Only in the second instance was the analysis of the results of the audit a specific goal. As examples of the many audits that were carried out during this STEER project, 2 cases, each with different target groups, should be pointed out. The audit that was carried out in Budapest was organised by the Hungarian Cycle Club. The main aim was to demonstrate a successful example of traffic calming and to show planners what a revitalised street in the heart of Budapest could look like. The chief planner of the best practice street accompanied the audit group and explained what and why measures were chosen, the problems that occurred, and how they were overcome. The main pillar of the programme was that through traffic was entirely eliminated. Access restrictions for car traffic were implemented. Only public transport buses and taxis can pass the whole length of the street. Local car traffic is admitted to a limited extent. Most of the public space was reallocated to pedestrians, cyclists and green areas, which resulted in a greatly improved urban environment. Interactive games and activities were installed to foster using the public space for leisure time. Benches facing each other or towards areas of interest, or an interactive fountain for children, where parents can watch their kids in a pleasant location without having to be consumers. In addition, tactile maps for blind people were implemented. Of course, the media have been invited to the audits as well. TV, newspapers and local news reported on the action. One local radio station even broadcast live from the street. In the Romanian city of Miercurea Ciuc, a city of about 35,000 inhabitants, the primary target group for the audit was mothers with baby buggies and people with reduced mobility. The organising body, the Harghita Energy Management Public Service, were able to convince the deputy mayor of the city, Mr. Domokos Juka, to participate in the whole audit process.
It's important for anyone that will have children and will raise children in the city to be sure that we can live in a greener, nicer, friendlier place. And this is why we need our higher superiors of the country, city and counties to know our problems and to solve these problems.
The audit started at the county's council. Immediately, it was obvious that the city has a major infrastructural problem. The pavements are in a terrible state, and public space is largely derelict. But the deputy mayor informed the participants that from 2011 a revitalization program will start. This plans to renew the entire city centre. Besides the city centre, which is mainly pedestrianised, the surrounding streets face the problem of either non-existent pavements, or otherwise, if they exist, that they are used by parked cars. Pedestrians have to walk on the streets. This is even more tricky when these streets lead to a kindergarten.
In the back of the street there is a kindergarten and it's impossible to cross the street because there are many parking autos in the car in the pedestrian side.
Even worse is the situation for people with permanent reduced mobility. Wheelchair users, for example, often have no access to public space and are excluded from social life. Jaba Ficker, the president of the Association of the Handicapped People in Hagita County, points out that,
Amint láttuk,
as we could see, mothers with baby buggies, people with reduced mobility, elderly people have a huge need for accessibility to live a normal life.
ahhoz, hogy normális életet éljenek.
He further claims for a joint strategy.
A mai
If we get together, we will be stronger. And if we don't criticize, but raise awareness among politicians, we will succeed.
a hivataloságokat biztos, hogy több eredményt érünk el.
The second part of the audit was a round table discussion with the deputy mayor and selected stakeholders. The dialogue showed that there are many measures that could be implemented quickly on a low-cost basis. Finally, the president of the Mothers Association handed over a list of requests and suggestions that the association had already developed. A continuation of the dialogue and round tables with public participation was promised by the vice mayor.